Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. And we do have a lot to talk about today in terms of subscriptions, both with Xbox Game Pass and then also PlayStation Plus. Now, when it comes to Xbox Game Pass, there has been some talk here recently due to some different delays about their first-party content in the year of 2022. And after a very clickbaitish article made its way online, Xbox Game Pass decided that they was going to go ahead and respond, and even some of their developers decided to chime in as well, so we'll talk about that one here in just a little bit. Then on the side of PlayStation Plus, of course, they do have those new tiers coming in sometime here soon, but it sounds like they might have made their fans pretty angry over a decision that they are making, and yes, this comes off as highly anti-consumer, so we'll talk about that one as well. Per usual though, if you do find yourself enjoying the video, go and hit that like button below, as it does help with the channel a ton, and while you're at it, go and hit that bell notification and subscribe button as well, that way you can keep up to date with all of the latest gaming news. Other than that, though, let's just go and jump right into things, starting off with a couple of different September release dates. Yes, we're actually getting some good news in terms of release dates this week, not a bunch of delays this time, but yes, both Gollum and TemTem has now been officially announced for a September release date. TemTem, of course, is the highly anticipated monster capturing game that grabbed a lot of attention a few years ago as it released into early access. I actually got this game myself when it came to early access, and it's genuinely a pretty solid game, which I'll kind of get into here in just a moment, but it's now set for a September 6th release date. So this is very welcome news, as again, I think the early access kind of proved that it does have some really good ideas, and overall, I think it's a pretty solid game. Obviously, and it's kind of hard not to notice, but it is very similar to something like Pokemon, but all at the same time, there are some key differences here. It does play out more like an MMO with real-life players sharing the same world as you, and the turn-based battles focuses primarily on doubles rather than singles, or at least this is how I kind of remember it when it first did come over to beta. I also think that it has an attractive art style, and the monster designs are well done, which is very important for a game like this. But yeah, if this is a game that you've been looking forward to, again, it will release on September 6th. Now, as for Gollum, this game was actually originally supposed to release last year in 2021, but as we all kind of know by this point, the game industry right now is nothing short of turbulent. And like many other games, Gollum was delayed into 2022. Well, now it's set to release on September 1st, which is actually perfect timing, as this is one day before the Amazon Lord of the Rings show goes live. So with that type of mindshare that the show will bring, Gollum might look like a very attractive game, especially if it turns out to be good. Now, that does kind of remain to be seen, of course, but you do play as Gollum in a stealth-based adventure, and I think at the very least, it sounds interesting on paper, so for you Lord of the Rings fans out there, September is definitely going to be a lot of fun. Now, we also need to talk about Capcom, as apparently, during an investors relation Q&A, they were asked about what kind of plans they have for their Dormant IP, and check out the response here. They said, "We are currently putting together plans for our pipeline based on demand data from the market. Going forward, we will continue to take customers' wishes into consideration while devising our title lineup." So here it does kind of seem like they might be suggesting they have some type of plans for some different Dormant IP going forward, which, I mean, Capcom has quite a bit that they could work with, including Okami, which interestingly enough, Hideki Kamiya recently said that he would like to return to that game once again. They also have Darkstalkers, which they're kind of bringing back with that Capcom fighting game collection. Then there's Dino Crisis, which, I mean, come on. That would be just absolutely amazing to see it get that Resident Evil remake treatment. I mean, really, after the Resident Evil 4 remake releases, it could free Capcom up to maybe work on Dino Crisis, maybe, hopefully, but then there are some other possibilities, and I think that these might actually be the ones that they could be alluding to here, because leaks have already suggested that they are working on these specific games, and that's Power Stone and then Dragon's Dogma 2. Now, I know Dragon's Dogma is a little bit of a newer game, but it's actually now 10 years old, which is almost kind of hard to believe. And well, interestingly enough, Capcom just launched a 10-year anniversary website for none other than Dragon's Dogma. Now also keep in mind that they just released a Netflix animation of Dragon's Dogma not all that long ago. And all of this is amidst some leaks revealing that Capcom is working on a sequel. In both the Nvidia and Capcom leak that happened a few years ago, which were legitimate leaks, not just some insider claiming to have some type of information, but rather leaks that have proven to be accurate. And well, Dragon's Dogma 2, ironically enough, was listed in both of those leaks. So yeah, Dragon's Dogma 2 might actually be coming, and all of this is starting to surface just ahead of the Summer Game Fest, which is taking place, of course, next month. So yeah, again, you might want to keep an eye on that event, as there could be some pretty big announcements there, including a possible Dragon's Dogma sequel. And then as for Power Stone, the reason I think that this game might be coming as well is because a remake of that game was also listed on that Capcom leak. So maybe something is happening with that franchise as well. Okay, so let's go and talk about PlayStation here for a moment, because fans are absolutely furious right now with Sony once again. And if this is true, they have absolutely every right to be. This is really just almost hard to believe, but let's just go and get into this. So the new PlayStation Plus tiers just launched in Asia, so we are starting to get some early details on the service and specifically how the upgrade works if you already have traditional PlayStation Plus, or Essential as it's now being called. Well, several fan reports from Asia have made their way online that shows that if you previously purchased PlayStation Plus at a discounted price, and if you want to upgrade, not only will you be paying the typical upgrade price, but on top of that, you'll also be charged extra, making up the difference of your previous discount. In other words, it nullifies your discount that you fairly paid for. So what this means is that, let's say you purchased a year of what's now being called PlayStation Plus Essential for 50% off. That means that you got it for $30. But let's say that you wanted to upgrade to PlayStation Plus Extra, which is $100 a year. So if you wanted to make that upgrade, instead of paying $40 extra, which would be the standard increase without the discount, instead, because you got the discount previously, they're going to make you pay the difference in the discount, making it a total of $70 to upgrade. This also applies to anybody who stacked PlayStation Plus. So hypothetically, if you stacked 3 years of PlayStation Plus at 50% off, which would have been about $90 at the time, and then you wanted to upgrade to PlayStation Plus Extra, you would again have to pay the difference, making it $210 to upgrade. That is just absolutely crazy that they're not doing some type of flat fixed upgrade here. And this might be one of the most anti-consumer things that I've ever seen, if this indeed does turn out to be true and isn't just some type of error or anything like that. What we can currently say, though, is that right now in Asia, there are several reports of this happening, and for fans that stacked years and years of PlayStation Plus are being hit hard by this. Now again, maybe this is just some type of error, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for as of the time being, but what makes this even more strange is in how they're tracking who has discounted PlayStation Plus. Immediately, some fans were speculating that this would only affect fans who purchased PlayStation Plus from the PlayStation Store while they were on sale, but that's actually not the case at all. It does seem like PlayStation sent codes to places like Amazon and Shop2 and are able to track if those codes were sold at a discount. So just because you purchased PlayStation Plus from a third-party company, that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't track whether you got it for a discount or not. Like, I mean, seriously, this is absolutely crazy stuff. And I mean, I have to say, bravo to PlayStation, because this really does set a new bar for anti-consumer. It really just doesn't make any sense. I mean, fans have purchased these subscriptions fairly. They didn't steal it, and Sony is the ones that allowed these to be sold at a discount. To turn around and then take that discount away from fans if they want to upgrade is just, in my opinion, it's asinine, and it's unheard of. It should just be a simple flat upgrade, same cost for everybody. There really should absolutely not be a situation where how much you previously paid for PlayStation Plus matters when you purchased it fairly. Now, I do understand that some fans, they kind of took advantage of stacking their memberships, but that's really been a thing for years and years, and PlayStation never had a policy for that until here recently, where they're trying to keep fans from stacking. But again, that's Sony's problems. You can't punish customers for a policy that you never had in the first place. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping this is some kind of an error, but I guess we'll just have to kind of wait and see how all this plays out. If I do hear anything else, whether that be good or bad, I'll let you know. But let me know what you all think about this in the comments below. Do you believe this is just some type of an error, or do you think Sony is actually going to try to charge fans more who previously got a discount? Let me know in the comments below. Moving on though, we do get to talk about Xbox Game Pass as well, so we actually get to talk about both subscriptions today, which is kind of cool, but something that's been happening here recently is ever since Starfield and Redfall was delayed into the first half of 2023, there has been a bit of a shift for the overall outlook of Xbox in 2022. Everything previously was kind of looking really good there at the end of the year for Xbox until those delays took place, and this does affect Xbox Game Pass in a pretty major way. We did actually talk about this before. Without a doubt, these delays do affect Xbox in the short term. However, does that mean that they should not have delayed these games? And as I've said before, absolutely not. Regardless of Xbox taking one on the chin this year, quality has to come first. And I mean, if you want to look on the bright side, 2023 onward for Xbox is starting to look pretty stacked, with them having like 30 plus games in development from their first party studios and third party partnerships. So I really think 2023 onward is going to be pretty spectacular for Xbox, but as of right now, for the short term, Xbox does not have a great lineup for 2022. Now, they might have a few surprises later this year, such as Forza Motorsports 8 as an example, but again, without a doubt, this does affect Xbox and Xbox Game Pass this year. So because of all that, a few people online, they took to Twitter saying that they're unsubscribing from Xbox Game Pass for the time being until they start to release their first-party games once again. Now, I can't necessarily fault anybody for that. You know, these day one first-party releases are a big part of Xbox Game Pass, and if that's the primary reason that you're subscribed to Game Pass, you might want to unsubscribe for the short term until those games start flowing again like last year. Last year, Xbox released Flight Simulator, Psychonauts 2, Forza Horizon 5, and Halo Infinite, so it was a very good year in terms of first-party content, especially if you're an Xbox Game Pass subscriber. However, 2022 is looking a little bit more slim with some of these delays, and with a few fans saying that they're unsubscribing for the time being, well, Kotaku decided that they're going to take this very opportune moment to make an article titled, "After Years of Hype, the Xbox Game Pass Burnout is Here," which is just a ridiculous clickbaity title, and quite frankly, it isn't true. I mean, yes, their first-party content this year is lacking in 2022, as I've already stated, but there are still tons of other games, big and small, that releases directly into Game Pass on a monthly basis. Whether that be bigger games like Rainbow Six Extraction, that released directly into Game Pass earlier this year, or amazing independent titles like Tunic. That really is one of the best games that's released this year, and it launched directly into Game Pass. And even in a few days, you have Sniper Elite 5, that again is launching directly into Game Pass. Later this year, you also have Scorn and also Atomic Heart. So yeah, there's definitely interesting games coming to Game Pass all the time. They're not necessarily your big first-party games as of this moment, but nonetheless, what was kind of amusing about all of this is that Xbox Game Pass on Twitter actually responded to Kotaku and started to trend. They simply stated, "Tell me you limit yourself to only AAA games without telling me you limit yourself to only AAA games." So yeah, this tweet just took off as it was rather amusing, and something else that was really interesting about all this is that their first-party studio NXO and their head of studio, Brian Fargo, actually spoke out as well and kind of stood up for Xbox on some of the delays that they've made as of recent. You can actually see here where Brian Fargo said this: "Microsoft have been perfect partners for us, and I've worked with a lot of people in my career. Nothing but encouragement, operational support, creative freedom, and respect for game development. So yes, I'm most impressed with them, and you will see their bets pay off." So there you have it. In short, he's saying that all the creative freedom and the respect to game development that they have, which does include delays, is going to pay off. I mean, I get it from a fan's perspective. Fans are disappointed with Xbox's output in 2022, and for those that are subscribed to Game Pass for these first-party games. I mean, I understand the disappointment for the short term with their first-party lineup, but quality has to come first. Now, for somebody like myself, though, who likes a wide variety of games, I am very satisfied with Xbox Game Pass, and if anything, I actually have a hard time keeping up. But regardless of 2022 and the lineup for this year, 2023, that's where it's starting to look very good. Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though, and now that it's been discovered that EA, out of all publishers, is looking to sell, I wanted to ask you all, do you think EA will be acquired in 2022? And as you can see here, most of you all do not believe this to be the case, with 60% of you saying no, while 31% of you said yes. So yeah, despite the reports going around that EA is looking to sell, you all don't believe that this is actually going to happen anytime soon, or at least not in 2022. And I think that if you start to look into the reports, yeah, there might be a reason to believe that it won't happen anytime soon. And that simply comes down to the original report stating that they've been trying to sell for quite a while, actually before the Activision Blizzard Microsoft buyout. So with that in mind, it seems like maybe EA is they're expecting too much out of this acquisition, and that maybe some of these other companies aren't happy with what EA is offering. It sounds like they want to do a merger rather than just a full-out acquisition, and they want Wilson to kind of remain in charge even then. So these might be red flags to some different companies wanting to buy. Maybe they want full control of EA, especially considering how much money that an acquisition like this would cost, or a merger in this situation. So it seems like what EA maybe is proposing right now might not be in line with what some of these companies want to do. Now, with that said, if a big corporation, if they want to kind of enter the game market and really take it serious, this would definitely be a big opportunity for them. But I still do wonder about maybe the stipulations that EA wants. So that right now is kind of the big question, and that's why a deal like this could possibly be held up well beyond 2022. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.